Hello, welcome to the show. Today I thought we'd talk about some programming. If you're already familiar with computers and you're already using computers, you might be surprised how easy it is to actually start programming, or if nothing else, get into some scripting, which is a less compiled version of programming, in order to be able to automate a lot of features and get a lot of things done. So we're going to start off by showing you what a real simple basic program is. Then we'll actually put a couple of scripts together, one just as a batch file and one in what's called VBScript, and show you just how simple it is to actually write yourself a little script or a little program and automate some things. Let's have a look. Well, first things first, I've actually chosen a good old Commodore 64 emulator in order to be able to demonstrate the simplest of simple basic programmings. And basic is beginner's all symbolic instruction code. It's a programming language that's been around for a long time now. So this is how simple it can actually be. So if we just type in 10, print hello world. Many of you have seen that before. And we'll do a list. That's the program that we currently have in memory. We'll add another line to it, 20, go to 10. Again, list the program. That's our entire program, and when we're ready to run it, we type run. And there you go, away it's running. So basically all that's doing is going to print hello world over and over and over and over again, infinitely, because I've told it to print hello world as the first line, and second line, do the first line again, just over and over and over. Alright, that's great. Again, that's just an introduction to how simple programming can be. But on a more modern system, on a Windows-based system, you might be familiar with the good old command prompt. And the command prompt is great. Type in directory and you get a listing of what's under that particular directory. You can actually make that into a little script, and you can make it run when the computer starts, or you can make it run whenever you want it to. You can have it as simple as you like, or quite complex. So let's have a look at real simple batch programming or scripting. If we type in directory, which many of you be familiar with, you get a directory of the current folder that we're in. That's fine. Very simple. If we want to put that into a batch file, we actually can. And we can do that by opening up good old trusty Notepad and starting our program by simply typing in directory, the same command that we would type straight into the command prompt line. Then you simply save that as, we'll save it on the save it into the same folder that we were in a minute ago, just in here. And what you want to do is you want to actually call it a batch file. You can actually use command file as well, it's the same thing basically. So we'll call this our directory test file .bat. Save it. Alright, dir test.bat, and we can minimize Notepad. Now if we have a look in our directory again, you'll see that dir test.bat file has been created. If we want to run that, we simply type in dir test.bat. What did it do? It just ran the directory command, because that's all the file actually says to do. So that's great, but it's useless. So what's something a little bit more useful, but still extremely simple to demonstrate? So let's go back to our dir test.bat file, and this time we will actually go dir pipe dir output dot text. All that means is do the directory command, but don't necessarily just tell me on the screen. Put it into a file called dir output.text. And that's kind of handy. I've actually used this in the past. if you put this in your startup or you put it in another place where you want to run a script from, it will go and collect a complete directory listing. Right? And you can make this simple. You can make this right at the top level of C, and it will do a directory of absolutely everything and output it to a text file. And it will you can make that text file date tagged, so you can say on Monday this was the directory listing, on Tuesday this was the directory listing, and so on. That can actually be useful if you've got a multi-user environment or it's a shared drive and you want to see what changes over time. So this is the entire command we'll use. dir, two pipes. Two pipes means don't just write to the file and then append additional output. Otherwise it would write one line and that would be the last part of the file. And simply save that file. Minimize that file. We'll just clear this. Let's have a look in our directory again, and we still have this dir test.bat file. Let's run it. And that's pretty much all you've got. Now if I do a directory listing, I have a dir output.txt file. So if I browse to that folder, here is my dir output.txt file. Double click. There is the output that I would have got in the command window, but now I've got it in a text file. That's how simple and easy writing a script or a little program can actually be. So let's expand on that now. We'll stay in our text editor, Notepad. Right, everybody's got Notepad, so you don't need any special software. Let's stay in our text editor, Notepad, and we'll get rid of this file, get rid of this line, and I'm just going to write message box, hello world, and this time I'm going to save it as a different file type. I'm going to save this one as, I'm going to save it to the desktop. I'm going to call it just hw.vbs. The VBS part's important. That is telling Windows that this is a Visual Basic script, or at least a portion of one, and it will run it accordingly. So save that to the desktop. Alright, so we have this Hello World VBS file, HWVBS, and it's on our desktop. So what we'll do is we'll whip out to our desktop, we'll find our Hello World VBS file, which is HWVBS, and we're going to double click on it. Hello World, and that's all it does. But that gives you an idea of what you can potentially do. You can use VBS, and VBS and going into VBS is a bit more complicated, but learn it a little bit by little bit, function by function, and you can build up many different features. You can use a lot of file manipulation. You can get it to pop up messages on the screen, obviously as you log on. You can get it to take the directory like we did with the dir command in the command line. And yeah, a great many features that you can build into a VBS. If you've got Office installed on your computer, and a lot of people are familiar with Office, you actually have quite a decent little programming environment built into the back of Office. And I'm actually going to show you another example now using Microsoft Excel. So let's open up Excel. Okay, there we go. And we're all familiar, or those that are familiar with Excel know how to use it and its basic functions. Hold down the Alt key and hit F11, and you end up in the VB, or the macro kind of back end to the Office suite. You can get this in Word, Excel, and so on. You can use VB or VBA, Visual Basic for Applications commands, in the back to get it to do things for you, just like you would record a macro, or you would do formulas in the cells within Excel. But you can programmatically control this and get a lot more functionality and a lot more power out of it, and even get it to do things into Word applications or PowerPoint applications. So what I've done is I've opened up the macro part, or the VBA Visual Basic editor, out of the back of Excel. and I'm looking at sheet 1, and that directly corresponds to sheet 1 as it's written down here. So I'm looking at sheet 1, and you've got two drop downs at the top of the screen. One is general, one is worksheet. For this example, we're just going to choose worksheet, and you've got an event. So before double click, before right click, something's changed, before the sheet's deactivated, and you've got quite a few in there, right, to choose from. But for the simple example today, right, I've chosen before double click. All that means is when someone's using sheet 1, before they double click, this program will run. And we're going to make this, again, very, very simple program. We're going to get it to do two quick little things. First things first, good old message box. Message box, hello, if I can spell, hello world. Right, that is it. You can get more complicated. You can put a critical, we'll do one. We'll do critical. Right, so it'll put up a critical quotation mark, right, warning you that something bad has happened. So that's it. After the hello world command pops up, I'm going to get it to do something else. And this is a simple little loop. Don't worry about understanding how loops and all that work. This is just a demonstration on what you can actually do inside of Excel using some simple scripting and programming techniques. So I'll just declare a variable for x equals 1 to 50 will do. Next x. So we use the range command. So range, we'll do it in column A, and x dot, I think it's the interior command, color index equals x. So hopefully I haven't made any mistakes with that. Now what that will basically do is it's going to loop itself a little bit like the Commodore 64 example right at the start. It's going to loop itself 50 times. Inside that loop, it's going to look at column A and use the number 1 for the very first iteration, 2 for the second time round, 3 for the third time round, and so on through to 50. So it's going to go A1, then A2, then A3 to 50. And it's going to write the colour corresponding to X, so colour number 1, colour number 2, colour number 3, and so on. It's going to write those out in column A, and we'll hopefully see a column full of colours that are standard VB or Excel colours that you can use in your charts and other things. Alright, so hopefully that is all there is to it. How we run this is we double click in our workbook. Let's try it. So here's our workbook. We're going to double click. Hello world, big red X to let you know something serious has happened. Get out of that, and ta-da, we have 50, should be maybe 49, 50? 50. 50 of the colour range that's available for fonts, cells, graphs, and other things inside of Excel. So there you have it. Command line alternatives, old Commodore 64 type spaghetti programming it's called. It's still basic, but it used to use line numbers in order to be able to sequence things, and that hasn't been around for a while now. It's too restrictive, so we use subroutines now. So you've used a Commodore 64 example, you've seen a command line example and how easy it is to write a little BAT file in order to be able to automate some things, and a VBS file just using Notepad in order to be able to do the same. And there are lots of examples of VBS scripting and how you can do other things like that, and what you can actually do with it is quite significant. And also what's in the back of your Office suite that you can actually use in order to be able to automate some features as well. So hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you very much.